Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of the Wilson County Board of Education for January 22nd, 2024 to order. The meeting is being televised on Spectrum and Greenlight Channel 22. It's live streamed through the Wilson County Schools YouTube channel. The public can also view the meeting through links on the Wilson County Schools Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages, and the Wilson County Schools website. Please note that we are down a member. Mrs. Barnes is under the weather this evening and will not be in attendance, so that our quorum is present and our total board count is 6 rather than 7. Members of the board, I ask for the approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair,
Mrs. Powell,
I move that we approve the agenda for the January 22nd, 2024 meeting of the Wilson County Board of Education.
Second.
it has been moved by Mrs. Powell, seconded by Mr. Breen, that the agenda for tonight's meeting, January 22nd, 2024, be approved. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye. Let those opposed, nay. Let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously. We'll ask if Mrs. Boyette will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, to be followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Members of the board, the minutes of December the 11th, 2023, the regular board meeting, are before you. What is your pleasure?
Madam Chair,
Mrs. Powell?
I move that we approve the minutes for the Wilson County Board of Education meeting dated on December the 11th, 2023.
Second.
Been moved by Mrs. Powell, seconded by both Mr. Breen and Mr. Boykin, that the minutes be approved. Before I, if there are any discussion, I'd like to make a point in regards to the minutes of that meeting. There was a statement that I made and a letter that was read into the minutes. I would like that they be attached as an amendment to those minutes, so that that full set of comments can be a part of our minutes. As a correction, please, or an addendum. With that said, Ms. Cornetta, will we have to have the motion of the amended, or will that be sufficient?
Is there any objection from a board member about adding the letter as an addendum?
No objection.
No.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously. Special presentation to the board, so I'm going to turn it over to whom?
Our teacher of the year.
All right, our teacher of the year, Ms. Renee.
Good evening, board members. My name is Heather Renaud, and I'm a kindergarten teacher at Rock Ridge Elementary School. I'm also honored to serve as the 2023-2024 Wilson County Schools Teacher of the Year. January is Board of Education Appreciation Month, and on behalf of the entire Wilson County Schools family, I am here tonight to make sure you know how much you are appreciated. You each bring countless strengths to the table and remain the biggest champions and advocates for our students, staff, and families. Few people realize the huge responsibility you have as a board member and all of the many decisions that you make. You have more than 10,000 students and 1,500 staff members under your watch. Your high standards, work ethic, and commitment to students and staff are recognized here in Wilson County and across the state. In November 2020, you were awarded the School Board Leadership Award from the North Carolina School Boards Association. This is the highest honor a Board of Education can receive at the state level, and one that was well-deserved. What is truly inspiring is the way you work together as a team. In every decision that is made, you come together to ensure that students remain at the forefront. Your leadership is vital, and under your guidance this past year, students and staff have flourished. Here is a list of a few accomplishments the board played a major role in since last January. A total of 719 seniors graduated in 2023 and accepted $5.7 million in scholarships. The district celebrated incredible accountability results due largely to the board's leadership. There was a 5.4% increase in overall proficiency compared to the previous year, and the district achieved its highest state ranking ever. Wilson County Schools is now 41st in the state out of 115 school districts. Not too long ago, we were 89th. We also had 21 schools meet or exceed growth, which is the highest number ever for the district. This included all of the elementary schools for the second year in a row. We also held the ribbon cutting for the brand-new, state-of-the-art Wilson Academy of Applied Technology building, and the students transitioned to the building in March of 2023. Lucama Elementary was named a 2023 National Blue Ribbon School, one of only 353 schools in the nation, and one of 8 schools in the state. This prestigious recognition is the highest honor awarded to schools by the U.S. Department of Education. Governor Cooper visited Lucama Elementary in November to celebrate. The district provided new classroom furniture to every single classroom across the district and also provided playground equipment at several schools. All students are currently receiving breakfast and lunch at no cost through CEP or Universal Meals, which is wonderful for our students and families. Lastly, the board submitted several nominations to the North Carolina School Boards Association, and Communicating with Confidence was recognized with the Innovation and Excellence in Public Education Award. The district also had a large number of elementary students earn honorable mention for their artwork in the association's poster contest. 2 exciting projects on the horizon are construction of a new Frederick Douglass Elementary School and the opening of our 5th Wash Center, which will be located at Darden Middle. We also have some pretty impressive staff members who have been recognized at the state or national level, all of which are encouraged and supported by your leadership. To name a few, the district is currently home to the top school nutrition manager in the state, a national rising star in student transportation, the NC Science Teacher Association's pick for Outstanding Science Teacher of the Year, a regional finalist for Beginning Teacher of the Year who is still in the running at the state level. And your very own Mr. Mercer just completed his reign as the top board member in the state as the Raleigh Dingman Award winner. Along with the title, Mr. Mercer also served as an advisor to the State Board of Education. Again, thank you all for that you do for Wilson County Schools and your service as board members, and also the amazing things that you do for others in your personal lives, such as Dr. Fitch, serving as a vital member of the Wilson Education Partnership. Mr. Mercer, baking hundreds of pies for others during the holidays. Ms. Powell, for serving on the North Carolina Teaching Fellows Commission. Mr. Breen, for organizing a drive for our students to collect coats, hats, scarves, and gloves. Mr. Boykin, spearheading the lunches that are being provided for all staff this year. Ms. Barnes, supporting several schools through her sorority and covering lunch duty, delivering food items, providing coats, and reading to students. And Ms. Boyette, serving as a member of the University of Mount Olive Board of Trustees. At this time, I would like to present each of you with some thank you cards from my kindergartners. Thank you again, and happy Board of Education Appreciation Month.
Thank you so much. And tell them we are very proud of these cards that they have made for us.
Sure will, and they all sign the back.
All right.
Sweet, Heather.
Oh,
Yes,
Thank you all.
thank you
Thank
so
you,
very
Heather.
much. Next on the agenda is the chairman's report. Kind of short tonight, but first of all, though, this month is moving away very fast. We've just started 2024, and we're almost at the end of the month. If the remaining months go as this one month has been so far, we'll be at the end of another year and not at the beginning. And I'm hopeful that on behalf of the board, that the break that we had for Christmas and the new year allowed for rest and rejuvenation, because we're now back on the grind for another exciting semester. And we are claiming graciously positive results as we have had this past year. So thank you very much, and best wishes for a successful semester. Well, it's that time of year again. Members of the board, I need your help, because we are getting ready to participate in the WEP Trivia Spelling Bee. This will be held on March 14th, 2024, at 6:30 p.m. at Hunt High School. The theme this year is Sweet Adventures in Candyland. The event is presented by Pointer Spruill, LLC, with event sponsors including Bridgestone, S.T. Wooten, Truist, the Wilson Chamber of Commerce, Skinner Farlow Kerwin Architecture, Smithfield Foods, Bunn Family Foundation, Collins Aerospace, Schmidt Law, Signature Smiles, Wilson Mold and Machine Alliance, Wilson Mold and Machine Alliance One, Bartlett Engineering, Breen Law, Evans Machinery, Watson Electrical, JMIS Incorporated, 3C Store Fixtures, Casita Brewing Company. These are very generous sponsors who help our schools. The evening is a fun-filled activity. You gonna spell again, Mr. Boykin?
I sure will.
All right. Mr. Mercer, you gonna spell again?
I'll do my best.
Ms. Boyette, you gonna join us again this year?
What day did you say it was?
It's on March the 14th, 2024, 6:30 p.m.
Let's see if you can find it too without me.
All right. Ms. Powell, are you gonna help us spell this year?
If I'm not doing anything that night.
All right, check your calendar. Mr. Breen, I'm not gonna ask, because you usually have your own team, so. I look forward to our school board members once again fielding a team, and since I've just nicely drafted publicly many of you, and yes, I will be spelling with you, for a fun-filled evening that benefits our students and our teachers and staff. So please mark your calendars. If you did not get the date, let me say it again, March 14th, 2024, 6:30 p.m. at Hunt High School. Sweet Adventures in Candyland. And that concludes the chairman's report. Dr. Mills,
Yes, ma'am.
superintendent's report.
Madam Chair, board members, audience members, y'all can talk about spelling all you want, you'll be buying some words is what you're gonna be doing.
Well, it supports a good cause, sir.
Yeah, it's quite prevalent in that arena until they get to the trivia, and even that was bad. I would like to take a moment to echo Heather Renaud and our Teacher of the Year and thank the board for their service and the work that they do. I think people see meetings and the packets and the materials and pieces in the newspaper and online, but it's much more to be a a successful board member and a very much a contributing board member, and obviously from some of the things Heather mentioned and others, you're very connected in the community, and it's more than just the board work. So that's time away from your families, time away from your work, and we appreciate it. I know the school system benefits from it, so thank you on behalf of others, and we appreciate it. So it's a thankless job at times, but y'all do a really good job, and we're very lucky. Again, that won't say many words. When the time comes, you'll still be taunting us from across the gym,
That's right.
but that's okay. I would also like to share that, our Teacher of the Year did a great job sharing some great stuff. And I want to point out a few things that are really important. I wanted to share that our Rock Ridge Elementary kindergarten teacher, down the hall from her, is Holly Johnston, has been selected as a finalist for the 2024 Empower North Carolina Beginning Teacher of the Year Award. That's through the North Carolina Center for the Advancement of Teaching. She is one of only 27 regional finalists competing for the state title. We got word about that right before, right as we were coming back, right in the middle of all the weather. But the finalists are teachers who have successfully completed their first year of teaching and show promise as excellent teachers and education leaders. And those you know that know Holly, Ms. Johnston truly does do that. She is really incredible kindergarten teacher, and we're really pulling for her on this next phase of the process. She's also a graduate of our school system, and we're very lucky to have her and keep her in our school system, and we're pulling for her, but one of 27, so that's powerful. And I had a chance to talk to her when Mr. Bork and I were walking while we had started our cookers the other day, and she is very humble about the whole thing, but you can tell she's very excited as well. So please keep her in your thoughts as the process continues. So we're pulling for her. We also had our mid-year conference on January 4th, and I wanted to thank the presenters and attendees and organizers for pulling that together, for that PD for our staff. That's a lot of work to pull that together right there in the middle of the year, but it does give us a chance to get together and do some retooling and feedback and PD right there in the middle of the year before we start back. Because as Dr. Fisher was saying, and we all know, once the second semester starts, even with the kind of a janky start we had with the weather and everything else, it's going to be wide open from here on out. We also mentioned Wilson Education Partnership as one of the award winners in Heather's comments, but they recently had a Hot Ones contest where contestants competed in 10 rounds of eating super spicy nuggets. 10. And we had several of our own staff members who obviously were roped in, who participated into being a part of this, including our Principal of the Year, Daniel Barnes. I was wondering why he's been out so much. And Springfield Middle Coach Travis Johnson, Deputy Freeman, a school resource officer at Darden Middle, also competed, and she actually won the Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader portion of the contest. Don't laugh. A lot of people didn't do that well. The overall winner was Christopher Munton, the CEO at Wilson Medical Center. He's probably a good thing he's right next door to the hospital. The host for the event was our Teacher of the Year back there, Heather. How was it?
I was very glad to be behind the podium.
Yes. Smart move. But in total, there were 10 contestants, and they raised $8,000 for our schools. So it was a really popular event. That was awesome. And special thanks to Casita Brewing for hosting the event and choosing WP as the beneficiary of the proceeds. So just keep that in mind for next year. Start practicing now. I wanted to remind 8th grade families that the early college application deadline is January 26th. And the application is on our district website or websites for the early colleges, Watt or WECA. Staff from both schools have visited our middle schools to speak to the 8th graders, and both schools also held information meetings last week. And I also want to remind 8th grade families about the upcoming family engagement session on preparing for high school. That's scheduled for January 30th from 6:30 to 7:30. That's a virtual meeting. And that'll cover what to expect for your student high school, extracurricular activities, attendance, athletics, and more. And I think that was something you discussed in instructional services, so it may come up later in the meeting. The link to that session can be found on our district social media sites and in emails that went out through our automated phone system to the families of rising ninth graders, which will be here before you know it. And Madam Chair, that's all I have.
Thank you so much. Let me remind you, members of the board, I think you had at your places the committee assignments for the upcoming year and the meeting times. So thank you for your willingness to serve on the various committees as we move forward. We're at the point of our agenda where the public is allowed to give their input. Each person is granted 3 minutes for his or her presentation. This portion of the meeting is for the board to hear matters of interest from the public. However, obscene or vulgar statements, personal attacks, and statements reasonably perceived to be disruptive or imminently threatening to the orderly operation of the meeting shall not be permitted. Tonight, members of the board, we have 3 persons who have signed up to address the board. The first person is Debbie Futrell regarding the Area L AHEC of Wilson and Wilson County Schools Partnership. Ms. Futrell? Thank you.
Hello. I'm probably going to mess up something. Thank y'all so much for the opportunity to talk to you about the partnership that Area AHEC has with Wilson County Schools. So AHEC stands for Area Health Education Center. I could probably spend 3 minutes at least explaining to you what AHEC does, but in a nutshell, we work with providing education for healthcare professionals in our 5-county region. Wilson is one of those counties, and we also work with students to try to get them increase their awareness of different healthcare professions, because most students know about doctors and nurses, but then there's a lot of other healthcare professionals that are needed. So we have some federal funding that supports us working in our 5-county region to support that. And so that funding has been around probably for about 30 years. It is not as much funding as it used to be, because now there's also a push to do some work with students in college that are already interested in health careers, but we still try to do what we can in the school system. So we have supported probably for the last 10 years the pharmacy technician program here in Wilson. We have some money each year that we give to support that. I'm a pharmacist by training, and so pharmacy techs are very near and dear to my heart. So we are very proud of that partnership with you guys. We also have been doing recently something called Stop the Bleed. I don't know if any of you are aware of that we've been doing some training in the school. It's really a very quick training for students and teachers to help if there was an altercation and someone needed to, know how to put a tourniquet on to stop bleeding. It's been proven to be very effective and not very expensive to teach and do. We also have recently started participating in the Y-Gig program. We're partnering with Barton on that, and so the students actually go to Barton's campus one day a week to get, a feel for what it's like to be on a college campus, but then also learn about health professions. So that's been very exciting. And I'm going to leave some materials with y'all, and the Y-Gig is actually featured on the back of our newsletter. One thing that I am very passionate about our AHEC, and several years ago, we actually provided a staff development back in August when teachers start back on adverse childhood experiences and resiliency. And so I'm a big advocate for educating whoever we can about the effects of adverse child experiences. Trauma causes a lot of, has a big impact on chronic disease. And so I think if we can try to address people's awareness of the impact of adverse childhood experiences and offer some resiliency training, that'll make a huge impact in our community.
Thank you. I hate to do this, but that was your
3
signal
minutes.
for
I
your
knew I
3
couldn't talk more
minutes.
than 3 minutes. Anyway, we appreciate WEP. We do a lot of great work with them, and I'm gonna leave some free education training. We've had a couple of teachers participating in a Florida State certificate program, so
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Dr. Charles Bayo, school policy question.
Morning, folks. Actually, good evening.
Evening.
Tonight, I am here as representing the Wilson County Moms for Liberty chapter. I'm the chair of it. In the past, when I have asked the board regarding boys using girls' bathrooms and locker rooms, you have quoted the state law. As much as I appreciate this, it seems to me that you are skirting the issue. So let me ask you a straightforward way. If a boy insists on using a girl's bathroom and locker room and will not settle for anything less because he identifies as a girl, will you, the school board, be compelled to accommodate him? If you are a mom with school-age children, please find out what your children are learning in school. Find out if they are being indoctrinated by being taught critical race theory and diversity, equity, inclusion programs. With that in mind, Wilson County Moms for Liberty can help you with this. I encourage you to visit our website and Facebook pages to find out what we are all about. We are looking for moms who will join us in the fight to rid Wilson County schools of these controversial issues and uphold the family's beliefs, virtues, culture. For the sake of the children and the grandchildren, we need to leave them a country that is based on Founding Fathers' Judeo-Christian doctrines. This is what makes the United States of America the most blessed country that ever existed on earth. It is imperative that parents and grandparents do their part to guarantee and uphold these principles as we move forward. Moms for Liberty is looking for moms that are determined to see this through. Our goals at this time are to prevent access of sexually explicit graphic books without parent consent, to remove age-inappropriate books from elementary schools, to implement a rating system to help parents determine age-appropriate access to books in middle and high school, and to improve the quality of education in America by restoring the core American principles to the classroom. And one other thing is that I had talked about this last time about the 5 books that we talked about last time. They are Crank, Tricks, Forever, This Summer, and Sold. And I was just wanting to know if those books were still in the schools, and if not, why. God bless, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Sue Glisson regarding books.
Thank you that I could speak tonight, and thank you for your service. I emailed you about some books. I emailed it today, so about 6 books that are explicit. And these books really should not be in the schools. It has pedophilia, child molestation, rape, incest, violence, suicidal ideas, self-harm, drug and alcohol abuse, and various perversions. There are NC obscenity laws to protect minors, and I hear the school doesn't have to abide by that, but I think you should abide by that. Children need a good foundation of an education. And the names of those books were Identical and Perfect from Ellen Hopkins, We Are Ants from Sean Hutchison, Looking for Alaska, John Green, Living Dead Girl, Elizabeth Scott, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, Stephen Chbosky, and I sent links to you also. And the links are from booklooks.org. So I'm hoping you'll look over that and try to get better books in the schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members of the board, as is the question after each time the public addresses us is, how do you want these persons who have addressed the board to be responded to? You may direct the chairman to respond to the concern on behalf of the board, direct the administration to respond to the concern, refer the matter to a board committee, refer the matter to the administration, or place the matter of concern on the agenda for a future meeting. What is your preference, please?
Madam Chair,
Mrs. Powell.
to direct the administration to respond to the concern.
I agree.
All right. Dr. Mills, we're going to ask you to follow the directive of the board and respond to the persons who have addressed us this evening.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Committee reports, we'll begin with Administrative Services. Mr. Mercer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Committee met this afternoon, and with our committee members present, which was Mr. Boykin, excuse me, let's see, it's Mr. Boykin, Ms. Powell, Mr. Breen, and myself. And we had other people present, including Dr. Williams and his staff, and Dr. Mills. We have 4 action items and no discussion items. The first action item is contract requiring board approval. And this item is regarding transportation for exceptional children when needed, and also wheelbound students, wheelchair-bound students. And we had previously had a contract not to exceed $300,000. And this with Kelly Transit. And we find it necessary to improve that or raise the cap on that, and for it not to exceed $750,000 for the whole year. So it's a matter of amending that contract. Other committee members or board members to have any comments?
Just as a reminder, this is for transportation for exceptional students. And this money comes from the state level as a result of our efficient transportation routes. So this is actually, even though it's an increase, it is not actually costing the school system money directly.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing no other comments, Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
on behalf of, excuse me, the Administrative Services Committee, I move the full board approve the amendment to the contract with Kelly Transit for it not to exceed $750,000 as recommended by administration.
Is there, it has been moved by Mr. Mercer, seconded by Mrs. Powell, that the board approve the contract in the amount of not to exceed $750,000 as amended to the original Kelly Transit contract as recommended by the administration. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously. Mr. Mercer?
Our second action item was a RFQ, which is a request for qualifications for facility condition assessment and deferred maintenance planning. And if I understand this correctly, Dr. Williams, it's it's to do an assessment of our facilities from an impartial point of view to determine what our needs are in repairs or so forth with our facilities across the county.
Yes, sir. This is to help conduct our 5-year facility needs assessment that we have to turn in every 5 years.
Any,
And this is this request goes to the state. We have to do this to the state on a 5-year cycle.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
any other comments or questions? Hearing none, Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
on behalf of the Administrative Services Committee, I move the full board approve an RFQ for facilities condition assessment and deferred maintenance planning as requested by administration.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Mercer, seconded by Mr. Breen, that the board approve the request to put out for bid a qualification for facility condition assessment and deferred maintenance planning, the RFQ. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously. Mr. Mercer?
Thank you. Our third action item was the 2023-2024 budget resolution. And Dr. Williams, make sure I explain this correctly. Please correct me if I misrepresent it in any way. But this is a resolution that has brought our budget reports or amounts current, allowing for any amendments, any additional funds. It puts us as a report as to where we are right now.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, and that includes the state public school fund, the current expense fund, the federal funds, capital outlay fund, child nutrition fund, trust and agency fund, before and after school care program fund, and local special revenue funds budgets.
Yes, sir. And it includes the amendments up to this point.
Yes, sir. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
on behalf of Administrative Services Committee, I move the full board approve the 2023-2024 budget resolution, included the aforementioned funds as recommended by administration.
It has been moved by Mr. Mercer, seconded by Mr. Borkin, that the board approve the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget resolution as presented by the administration. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously. Mr. Mercer?
Our fourth and final action item is the 2024-2025 calendar for budget development. And the need for this calendar is so that we can go through our process and be prepared to present to the county commissioners our budget recommendations. And everybody has a copy of those dates, which is, I don't think I need to read them. But the actual meetings will include a presentation to our board on February 19th. And on March the 18th, a presentation to the board. And it goes through a number of dates, but on May the 6th, I think or is it
23rd.
April the 23rd, we present to the county commissioners. And then there's a hearing on the 6th for the county commissioners. Any further comments, questions? Hearing none, Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
on behalf of Administrative Services Committee, I move the full board approve the 2024-2025 budget calendar as recommended by administration.
It's been moved by Mr. Mercer, seconded by both Mrs. Powell and Mr. Breen, that the board approve the 2024-2025 calendar for budget development. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously.
That concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Next on the agenda was the Instructional Services Committee report. That committee met this afternoon. There were 3 informational items and 7 action items. The first informational item is for a contract, for contracts requiring board notification. You know that we have a policy that sets a financial threshold of $90,000 where contracts can be entered without board approval, but board notification. We had 2 contracts that met that criteria. One is for Follett School Solutions for the annual renewal for library manager, resource manager, and Title Peak for the amount of $48,972.35. And the second was for Soft Choice Corporation, which is the annual Microsoft 365 license renewal in the amount of $66,708.76. You had before you the information regarding these. These are both renewals, so they just come to us for information at this time. Are there any questions? Hearing none, the next on the agenda was the summer program 2024. This year's summer program is Mission Possible. We were given a schedule of the times of the meetings for this summer. As you know, this is our summer school options. We have EOG and NC Extend 1 for grades 3 through 8 math, EOG and NC Extend 1 for grades 3 through 8 reading, EOG and NC Extend grade 5 through 8, 5 plus 8 in science, and EOC English 2, North Carolina Math 1, North Carolina Math 3, and biology, as well as Extend 1 for grade 10. The summer school program offerings are our proficiency. The dates of our programs are June 6th to the 11th for the proficiency summer school. Read to Achieve would be July 8th through the 25th for the students, with the teachers' orientation being the 1st of July. We have the various summer scholars programs. We have project-based learning for 6th through 8th graders that will have career explorations, math and science. We have summer scholars where our students can earn, and it's in 2 sessions, and students can earn up to 2 credits during the summer sessions. That's if they take both summer offerings. We have an adapted curriculum offering for those students that have that need. We do an internship program. We do offerings for our migrant and McKinney-Vento students. We have District C offering opportunity to assist local businesses in solving industry problems, so it's a formal work-through session. Students in grades 10 through 12 will have the opportunity to, again, participate in paid internships. And our students in grades 6 through 9 will have opportunity to take CTE offerings. On this Thursday, for the AIG students, there will be a parent engagement session on the CTE offerings, and on next Tuesday, there will be a general all-call. The one on Thursday will be in person. The one next week will be virtual, but the same materials will be made available to the students so that they can know the offerings of our CTE courses, because it is now the time of the year where our students are pre-registering for the next semester. We will also have materials available on the College and Career Promise courses, the CCP courses that the students can enroll in through the community college and earn credits that can be useful towards their college career once they finish that program. That is, in summary, I believe, the offerings for Mission Possible. And if the efforts with Mission Possible are as outstanding as our last summer offerings, we will do exceedingly well for our students. Are there any questions? The next on our agenda was the Comprehensive Support and Improvement Funding Application. This is a program that is available for school improvement at Title I, from Title I allotment. Vic Elementary has been identified as a comprehensive support and improvement school based upon its ADM. As far as funding is concerned, you have the information, and the funding for this will be from the state. You have before you the particulars for the proposal that is being submitted, what will be called for both our classified and certified staff in terms of improving our performance with growth as well as proficiency. Are there any questions? Hearing none, Mr. Mercer, I'll turn it over to you at this point for the next portion, the action items that'll come before us, as I will be making motions for these action items.
Yes, ma'am.
The first item was a contract regarding board approval, and this is for Trafera in the amount not to exceed $1,100,000 for Chromebooks. Some of our Chromebooks are older and in need of being replaced through ESSER funds, and this contract will allow us to provide those renewed Chromebooks for the use of our students, and the administration is recommending that we make approval of this. Therefore, Mr. Vice Chair, I move that we approve the contract for Trafera LLC to provide Chromebooks not in the amount not to exceed $1,100,000.
It's been moved and properly seconded that the full board approve contract with Tafera LLC in the purchase of Chromebooks not to exceed $1,100,000. Is there any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. It carries unanimously. Madam Chair.
Members of the board, next on the agenda was a proposed 2024-2025 traditional calendar. Surveys were sent out to determine the interest of the parents and the educators for this calendar. The survey was offered both online and in paper form. 669 surveys were completed. 45% of those were from the educators, and 55% of those who responded were parents, community members, or students. In the survey, options were offered in terms of whether the semester would end before the Christmas or winter break, or ending after the winter break. Option 1, which was for ending the semester before the winter break, received 65.2% of the votes, where option 2, for the semester to end after the winter break, received 34.8% of the votes. Therefore, it is the recommendation of the administration that we go with option 1 to end the semester before the winter break. And Mr. Vice Chair, on behalf of the Instructional Services Committee, I move that we approve the 2024-2025 traditional calendar using option 1 to end the semester before the winter break.
It's been moved and properly seconded that full board approve the traditional calendar for 2024-2025, which is option 1 to end the first semester before winter break. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. It carries unanimously, Madam Chair.
Mr. Mercer and members of the board, we also have the proposed 2024-2025 early college calendar. This calendar is created in collaboration with the Wilson Community College and the early college principals. Since our early colleges, both of them, both Wecker and Watt, are housed on the community college campus, and our students are engaged in classes from the community college, we work in collaboration. The calendar before you in the packet, on the recommendation of the administration and on behalf of the Instructional Services Committee, is recommended for approval. I move that we approve the presented 2024-2025 early college calendar for approval.
It's been moved and properly seconded that the full board approve the 2024-2025 early college calendar as presented. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. It carries unanimously.
Mr. Vice Chair and members of the board, you are aware not only do we have our traditional calendar and our early college calendar, we also have a restart calendar because both Barnes and Hearn are restart schools. So the 2024-2025 proposed calendar for those two schools uses a flexibility that is allowed by the state. The recommendation is that the school dates of August 12th through 13 are professional development days, and that October 18th and February 14th be used to offset those professional development days, so that those days, since the teachers would have been at school earlier, and so as to have the same number of days for all of our employees, we move on behalf of the Instructional Services Committee that the calendar that is presented for the restart for Barnes and Hearn be approved. I so move.
I have a question.
Yes.
As I look at this, I understand that the restart calendar has flexibility. That's why you're able to move those professional development days to the beginning. Here's my concern. The no day that you're taking away from them on October the 18th is also corresponds with the end of the 9 weeks and preparation of report cards. So my question is, how much would it cost for us to pay for those teachers and assistants to be able to have an additional work day so as not to have one cut from them? In other words, they're still working. I'm having trouble understanding how the restart calendar is advantageous. I understand that you can add the professional development days. What I don't understand is why you have to take those days away from somewhere else. And so my question is, why couldn't we put one back and pay them for it?
So with the calendar law, staff have to work 215 days. So if we don't offset those days that they come back early, then they will be over the amount of days that they are able to work based on the calendar.
And it prohibits us from using monies to pay them in addition at a restart school.
My understanding is we don't have the flexibility beyond, like, we have to work within that 215 days to still have the appropriate number of days for staff. It just allows us to rework when those 215 days occur.
Does anyone else not understand do you understand the conflict that you're saying we have a flexibility in calendar, but you're letting us move those days, but then you gotta take two?
So it,
Could we inquire, is there anyone with additional knowledge, is it absolutely prohibited? I thought that a restart calendar said you could add additional staff days,
Yes,
but I don't know. But
I do have a contact with Restart at DPI that I can reach out to inquire about that.
And if possible, then I'd like to know how much it would cost and would like to propose adding that workday so that those teachers at those two schools that are facing challenges by virtue of the fact that they're in a restart school are not denied a workday or have one taken from them when they need it at the end of 9 weeks. So,
Reach out and get more
I
information.
understand what you're saying. I do, and it's probably would be good to know if there's any other option, because that problem does not exist on the February date, because it's not the end of a grading
right,
period.
correct.
So I understand that. I was just looking to see if there was another day somewhere that we could have a no day that would work more like the February date for that, but I've not seen one. Or
Is this an item that can be tabled until the next
Sure.
board meeting?
I was gonna suggest we do that.
So that we can get further clarification and
There's-
limitations or legalities that we would need to adhere to.
Yeah,
So, members of the board, we will table the restart calendar until the February meeting.
that was a good point, Ms. Boyer.
Okay. So now we will move to the next item on the agenda, the revised 23-24 traditional calendar. Due to the inclement weather that we just experienced on 9th of January, where school had to be closed, that date has been changed from an instructional day to a non-day. And it is proposed in revising the calendar that Thursday, June 13th, 2024, become an optional teacher workday. Therefore, on behalf of the Instructional Services Committee, I move that we revise the 2023-2024 traditional calendar to reflect that January 9th, 2024 was a non-day, and that June 13th, 2024 become an optional teacher workday.
It's been moved and properly seconded that the revised 2023-2024 traditional calendar be amended to change January the 9th from an instructional day to a non-day, and Thursday, June the 13th, 24 will become an optional teacher workday as recommended by administration. Any additional conversation or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. It carries unanimously. Madam Chair.
We now need to revise the 2023-2024 early college calendar. Again, due to the inclement weather on January the 9th, the instructional day of January 9th has been changed to a non-day. It is recommended by the administration that Monday, May 20th, 2024 become an optional teacher workday, and that Tuesday, May 21st become an annual leave day, with Wednesday, May 22nd, becoming a holiday. On behalf of the Instructional Services Committee, Mr. Vice Chair, I move that the board approve the revision of the 2023-2024 early college calendar as presented by the administration.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we amend the revise the 2023-24 early college calendar as recommended by administration. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. It carries unanimously. Madam Chair.
The last item is again revising the calendar. This time it's the 2023-2024 restart calendar for Barnes and Hearn. Inclement weather on January 9th was changed from an instructional day to a non-day. It is being recommended that Thursday, June 13th will become an optional teacher workday for the restart calendar for Barnes and Hearn. Therefore, Mr. Vice Chair, on behalf of the Instructional Services Committee, I move that the revised 2023-2024 restart calendar for Barnes and Hearn be approved as recommended by the administration.
It's been moved and properly seconded that the full board approve the revised 2023-2024 restart calendar for Barnes and Hearn as recommended by administration. Any further comments or questions? Yes, ma'am.
Am I reading this correctly, that in all three calendars now, we only have 9 additional hours? So look at the bottom of each of those calendars where your hours are totaled up down there.
That's correct.
Okay, there are only 9 additional hours, so 1.5 days. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. It carries unanimously. Madam Chair.
Thank you. Members of the board, you have, as part of your packet, an invitation from the North Carolina School Boards Association Legislative Committee seeking applications for persons willing to serve on the legislative committee for the association, indicating that there would be 2 in-person meetings, July 19th and September 13th, and a 3rd meeting which would be virtually with a time to be determined. Board members, if anyone is interested, should complete the attached application and return it to the superintendent's office by February 12th, 2024. The nomination, if there is anybody interested, would go forth to the North Carolina School Boards Association Board of Directors for selection, or possible selection. And you see that there is a memorandum that was attached to this information from Bruce Mildroff, the Director of Governmental Relations for the association. If there's anybody that is interested, please complete the form and return it to the superintendent's office. Mrs. Boyette.
I move that the Wilson County Board of Education go into closed session to consider confidential personnel matters as provided in North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A1 and 6, and 115C-319 through 321, to consider confidential student matters as provided in North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A1 and North Carolina General Statute 115C-402 and the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, 20 U.S. Code 1232G, and to consult with the Board of Education attorney and preserve the attorney-client privilege as provided in North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3.
It has been moved by Mrs. Boyette, seconded by Mr. Breen, that the Wilson County Board of Education go into closed session to consider confidential personnel matters as provided in North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11A1 and 6 and 115C-319 through 321, to consider confidential student matters as provided in North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11A1 and North Carolina General Statutes 115C-402 and the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act 20, United States Code 1232G, and to consult with the Board of Education attorney and preserve the attorney-client privilege as provided in North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11A3. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Let the record reflect that the motion carries unanimously. We are adjourned to close.